Hello everyone, and today I'll be reading Scaramouche X Listener by me. So let's get into it. Scaramouche is not really someone who is transparent. Maybe because he decided not to be, or doesn't know how. You've not gotten there yet with him, and you don't know much enough to assume. But you're a couple, so maybe you should know more. But honestly, some things are just better not to delve into. And as for Scaramouche, there was a lot that you probably shouldn't delve into. That's why you didn't. And when it comes to emotional shifts like this, it's difficult to know what's the cause behind them. He's moody sometimes, but it doesn't last a long time. He's been angrier, and there was anguish in his eyes. You could tell by the way his eyes lingered on things you shouldn't. By the way his eyes looked so sad whenever they looked into yours. But you didn't know what was the reason behind all of that. Was it you? Were you the cause behind it? There wasn't anything that you've done, so what could be the reason behind all of that? A lot of looking around and asking, and you've reached nowhere. You have no conclusion of why you could be acting this way, and you're worried about him. You can't help but worry. I mean, what else can you do? You loved Scaramouche to bits, and you would do anything for him. But it's difficult when he's not letting you. When he's not letting you know what's wrong. How are you always going to help him without knowing what to do? And that's why you start bothering him in the first place. Bothering would not be the correct term, but you're fussing over him. And it seemed like you didn't like it. However, you would only realize that later on, much to your dismay. And it all starts with a simple question. Are you alright, Skira? You ask one day, but he only dismisses you, saying that he's fine. Responses have been curt, quick, and without much care and love into them. You wondered what you have really done to deserve all of this. But he decided to keep quiet today, because he didn't see you in the mood for talking. But when would he be in the mood? Because every time we tried to talk to him, he didn't want to respond to you at all. And so it started. You trying to ask him every day, trying to make up for mistakes you never made, making him dinner that he likes, getting him sweets, and trying to just get a hold of him, to give him a kiss or a hug when you can, only for Scaramouche to push you away. It hurts you beyond anything else. First, because you had no idea how to help him, and second, because you did nothing and he was treating you that way. How could you help him? How could you help your relationship? Was it just meant to crumble and fall away? Was that the end of your love? Was that how it's meant to be? You struggled with yourself, not knowing what to really do. But then, you decided you couldn't let things go like this. You were going to confront him, no matter what. So that's why you stormed over to his room, angry and grieving over something that you had let loose. Scaramouche, could you just tell me what's wrong with you? He looked at you, and why you were lying at him in the first place. And the look of confusion in his face was quickly replaced by anger. You're acting absurd, Wyan. Why are you yelling at me like that? He yelled back. Wow, way to be a hypocrite, Scara. Honestly, you were sick of what you were getting into. Scaramouche, can you just be honest for once? I don't know what's wrong with you. These past few days you've been acting so weird, and I don't get it anymore. Can you just tell me what's wrong? I'm your partner. You're not supposed to hide these things from me, if they are important so much. He looks at you for a while, then glares. What do you want to know? Why are you so intent on knowing everything? Maybe it's not your business. And that makes you angry. Not your business? Then why were you partners in the first place? It is my business, Kira. If it's gonna affect me, and you like that, then it is. You're not to say what is my business and what's not. And as you were saying that, he slapped you, making you flinch back, staggering a few steps, and looking at him in shock and horror, a hand going over the mark on your cheek that was left by the impact. You really did that then? You said, your voice hurt, and tears welling up in your eyes. You could only stare at you in confusion. Confusion at what you did, at how you could truly do something like that. He didn't think you would have it in him. He never actually wanted to hurt you. And now he did it. And he could only look at you in absolute horror at what he'd done. He's truly no different from the people he hates, isn't he? He doesn't have it in him to apologize. Because, in truth, he doesn't think any apology could make up for what he's done. So he runs away, just as he has from everything else in his life. From every problem he's faced, he's run away. And he's continued to do so until this moment. It leaves you hurt, crying and grieving over what you've done, over everything you've lost. You're no longer such a thing, no longer partners, and you'd no longer be in his business. So much for trouble. That wasn't worth much. But a few days later, Scara is at your door. Disheveled, his hair that was usually so pristine and clear, a mess. His face, there were eye bags, and you could see that he was crying. Only a few minutes ago. He looks at you and gets on his knees, begging you to come back to him, apologizing and telling you he'll never hurt you like that again, that he hasn't realized how much he was hurting you, and that he never wants to hurt you in any way. He begs and cries until you wrap your arms around him tightly, crying as well, and burying your face into his shoulder, telling him that if he was in pain, then the two of you should be in pain together. No one had to hurt alone. None of you had to. You just wanted him to share his pain with you. That's all. And he nods, finally understanding what you were going through. Finally understanding the feeling of seeing someone he loves being hurt because of him, and the helplessness you were feeling. And he promises himself that he will never hurt you, and he will make sure that none of you have to hurt alone. And from then on, he does try his best to communicate, and as promised, he never hurts you again.